My beloved child, please stop scrolling for just a moment because heaven has just shifted something major directly in your favor. Whatever it was that blocked your path yesterday no longer holds any power or authority over your life today, because I have personally moved it out of the way with my own hand. You might feel like you just stumbled upon this message randomly or by accident, but that is not the case at all. Before this night even started, before your thoughts became heavy with deep worry, and before fear tried to convince you that nothing in your life would ever change, I had already fully prepared this exact moment just for you. I brought you here to this very place because there is something incredibly urgent that I need your spirit to hear right now. Please do not rush away from these words or treat this like it is just another ordinary message passing through your day. What is happening to you right this moment is completely spiritual. Something massive has moved in the unseen realm concerning your life and your future. And if you listen closely, your soul can already feel it deep down inside. For a very long time, you have been fighting difficult battles that you could not fully understand or explain to anyone else. You kept asking yourself why everything seemed so delayed, and why good opportunities always seemed to slip away right through your fingers. You wondered why doors kept closing right in your face, and why progress always seemed to be just out of your reach no matter how hard you tried or how much effort you put in. You cried in secret places, wondering if I still remembered your prayers or if I was even listening to you at all. You put on a brave face and smiled around other people while privately carrying a heavy exhaustion that was so crushing that some nights you barely had any strength left to keep going. I saw every single bit of it, my beloved child. I saw the deep disappointment that you hid behind your silence, and I saw the fear growing quietly inside your thoughts every single time another delay happened. I saw those painful moments when hopelessness whispered directly to your spirit that maybe nothing would ever truly change or get better for you. Listen very carefully to me tonight. The delays you experienced were not always a sign of rejection. Many of the things that were resisting your life and holding you back were actually spiritual battles that you could not see with your natural eyes. There were real forces fighting hard against your peace, against your focus, against your true destiny, and against your personal relationship with me. There were moments when darkness tried to permanently close doors that I had already planned to open for you in your future. There were spiritual attacks sent specifically to exhaust your faith, until you completely stopped believing that a breakthrough was even possible for you anymore. The enemy wanted you to feel completely tired, numb, and distracted long enough so that you would miss the exact moment when heaven finally moved on your behalf. But tonight, something has officially shifted. Whatever was resisting you has finally begun losing its power, and whatever delayed you is no longer standing with that same authority against your life. What tried to bury your entire future beneath fear and confusion has been fully confronted by my hand. This is not luck. This is not a coincidence. And this is not just positive thinking or human effort finally working out in your favor. This is me actively moving in places your eyes cannot yet see, rearranging what was hidden, and commanding things to move that once stood blockaded in your path. You have prayed so hard for a breakthrough, but you did not realize just how much movement was already happening behind the scenes on your behalf. While you were crying, I was listening to you. While you were waiting, I was working. While you were questioning whether I was being silent, I was already moving pieces into place for an exact moment that your spirit is now stepping into. Heaven has absolutely not forgotten you, my child. I know there were days when it felt like every single person around you was moving forward, while you remained completely trapped in the exact same battles. I know that comparing your life to others wounded your heart deeply sometimes, and I know you questioned why life felt so much easier for other people, while your soul felt constantly worn out. But your story was never abandoned, your destiny was never canceled, and your true purpose was never removed from my hands. Now, I really need you to understand exactly why this specific moment matters so much. The door that is opening before you right now is not like any of the opportunities from your past. This specific door carries true spiritual weight because it was opened directly by my hand. It arrived after massive battles that you never fully saw, after prayers you thought went completely unheard, and after long nights where your faith almost disappeared entirely. That is exactly why the enemy has been fighting your mind so incredibly hard recently. That is why your fear intensified, and that is why discouragement has been following you around so heavily. Darkness recognized long before you did that your season was beginning to shift. My beloved child, so many people pray for open doors, but then they become terrified once the door finally appears before them. They ask me for change, but then they panic when the movement actually begins. They ask me for true freedom, but then they resist the actual process required to walk directly into it. You must not become one of those people now. I did not move heaven and earth around your life just for you to stand completely still in fear when the answer finally arrives right in front of you. This is your moment to move. Do not wait for later. Do not wait until after endless overthinking, and do not wait until fear finally disappears completely. Move right now while my grace is actively pulling you forward. You have spent way too much time trapped between faith and hesitation, where one moment you are believing that I still have a great purpose for your life, and the very next moment you are doubting whether you are even worthy of a breakthrough at all. Hear me very clearly tonight, because your worthiness was never the reason this door opened in the first place. My mercy opened it, my love opened it, and my hand opened it. What I open with my ultimate authority can never be blocked by human opinions, by spiritual resistance, or by any of the mistakes from your past. Still, I must warn you lovingly right now that doors from heaven do not remain open forever. Seasons change, opportunities pass by, and moments of grace require a real response from you. The enemy knows this truth very well, which is exactly why he keeps whispering hesitation directly into your mind. He wants you to spend all your time analyzing the door until the moment completely disappears. He wants you trapped in fear while your destiny stands directly in front of you waiting for your obedience. He wants you questioning yourself until the opportunity passes you quietly by. But tonight, I am completely exposing his strategy because I refuse to let fear steal what heaven has already released over your life. Do not stall now, my child. If you know deep down that God just spoke directly into your life, you can acknowledge that this message was perfectly meant for you. I know that you are deeply afraid of disappointment, that past pain has made trust very difficult for you, and that previous closed doors have wounded your confidence down to the core. Some opportunities collapsed when you least expected it, some relationships betrayed you completely, and some dreams broke apart right before your eyes while you stood there confused, wondering why life kept hurting your spirit so deeply. Because of all those painful experiences, a part of you became extremely cautious about believing in anything good again. A part of you became afraid to hope too strongly because disappointment left deep scars on your heart. But this specific door is completely different, and this moment is completely different because this shift carries my hand directly on it. The enemy tried his best to convince you that your story would always remain stuck in delay, but he had no idea that I was already preparing a moment where everything would begin shifting suddenly. He did not know that I would personally intervene, that I would silence what kept speaking against your peace, and that I would command barriers to move that human strength alone could never budge. Now, heaven is calling your spirit forward before hesitation can steal yet another season from your life. There are wonderful things waiting for you beyond this door that your current environment simply cannot give you. Deep healing waits there, clarity waits there, true freedom waits there, peace waits there, and a powerful spiritual awakening waits there too. But you absolutely cannot receive what lies ahead of you while you choose to remain emotionally chained to the fears that are behind you. That is exactly why I am calling you out of your hesitation tonight. Fear has kept you standing perfectly still for long enough. Doubt has stolen enough of your precious time already, and confusion has drained enough strength from your spirit. Now, I am telling you directly to walk through. Walk through before your overthinking talks you out of obedience. Walk through before distractions pull your attention away again. And walk through before fear convinces you to stay trapped in what feels familiar, but no longer carries any true life for your spirit. My beloved child, something truly sacred is happening all around your life right now. The entire atmosphere is shifting, chains are loosening up, doors are moving, and spiritual resistance is rapidly weakening. Deep inside yourself, you already know and feel it. That restless stirring in your chest is not your imagination, and that urgency rising up inside your spirit is not some random emotion. It is my spirit calling you into active movement while the door remains wide open. Do not underestimate this moment. You asked me for a breakthrough, and a breakthrough always requires movement. You asked me for freedom, and freedom always requires trust. You asked me for open doors, and now the door is standing directly before you, waiting for your response. But I will not drag you through it against your will, because love does not force obedience. Love invites, love warns, and love reaches out one more time to tell you to come forward while the door remains open. That is exactly what I am doing for you tonight. I am standing before your life and telling you that this is the last door I am opening for you in this specific season. So you must walk through it before fear steals what my hand has carefully prepared. Walk through it before hesitation turns into deep regret, and walk through it before the moment seals itself completely shut, because this is not luck. This is my hand, and heaven is waiting to see whether you will finally move. Before you can fully understand the incredible door I am opening for you now, you must first understand what was actually standing against you all this time. For years, you blamed yourself entirely for every single delay. You blamed yourself for every closed opportunity, every broken relationship, and every single season where a progress seemed impossible no matter how hard you tried. You constantly questioned your own worth, you questioned your future, and sometimes you even questioned whether I was truly with you at all. But tonight, I need you to hear me carefully. Not every battle in your life was a natural one. There were real spiritual forces resisting your peace, resisting your focus, resisting your healing, and actively resisting the destiny I placed over your life before you were even born into this world. You felt it happening, didn't you? You felt that strange heaviness that would appear out of nowhere without any warning. You felt that deep exhaustion that a good night's sleep could never fully fix. You felt the immense frustration of trying to move forward, while something completely invisible always seemed to pull you right backward again. You tried to explain it all logically, and you tried convincing yourself that you were simply overthinking, simply weak, or just being overly emotional. But my child, some of the battles surrounding your life were much deeper than any human understanding. The enemy recognized something incredibly valuable inside of you long before you ever recognized it yourself. Darkness always attacks true purpose, and darkness fights whatever carries a great destiny. Whether you fully realized it or not, your spirit carried something that heaven intended to use powerfully. That is exactly why confusion kept surrounding your thoughts, why fear kept returning every single time you came close to growth, and why discouragement followed you so intensely right after moments when your faith started becoming stronger. The enemy wanted your spirit completely exhausted, and he wanted you distracted long enough to miss the divine assignments heaven prepared for your future. He wanted your confidence completely destroyed before the right doors finally had a chance to open, and he wanted you so emotionally drained that when your breakthrough finally arrived, you would no longer have any strength left to walk toward it. I saw every single hidden attack against your mind, my beloved child. I saw the painful nights when anxiety wrapped itself tightly around your thoughts until breathing itself felt difficult to do. I saw the mornings when you woke up already feeling tired before the day had even begun. I saw the moments when hopelessness whispered that your life would never truly change. I saw the intense emotional warfare that nobody else could understand, because outwardly you still appeared strong, while inwardly your spirit was fighting battles completely silently. There were moments when you cried all alone, because you did not even know how to explain the heavy burden you were carrying. There were moments when you questioned why life felt so incredibly difficult for you, while everyone else seemed to move forward so easily. There were moments when you secretly wondered if maybe you were simply destined to stay trapped in cycles of delay and disappointment forever. But hear me right now, because that was never your destiny. The delays were never proof that I abandoned you. The intense resistance you faced was actual proof that something incredibly valuable was hidden inside your future. The enemy does not fight empty lives this intensely. He specifically fights people who are carrying a massive purpose, people whose obedience could break long-standing generational chains, people whose healing could inspire others to return to me, and people whose awakening could completely expose the darkness hiding around them. My beloved child, your life carried much more spiritual significance than you ever realized. That is exactly why the attacks became so deeply personal, why the battles felt utterly relentless, and why discouragement kept returning every single time you started to hope again. I saw the betrayal that wounded your heart so deeply, and I saw how certain people entered your life carrying hidden motives while pretending to love you sincerely. I saw the disappointment that completely shattered your ability to trust, and I saw how rejection slowly made you question your entire value as a person. The enemy used people at times to weaken your confidence, because he knows that wounded hearts often stop believing they deserve good things from heaven anymore. But those betrayals did not cancel your destiny, and those deep wounds did not remove my hand from your future. If anything, I remained even closer to you during those painful seasons while you cried out silently for some kind of understanding. You asked me many times why certain doors closed so unexpectedly, why relationships collapsed, why opportunities disappeared, and why your progress slowed down whenever you felt close to a breakthrough. My child, there were moments when I closed doors specifically to protect your future from destruction that you could not yet see clearly. There were environments that were slowly draining your spirit while you tried desperately to remain inside them. There were people smiling right in front of your face while quietly speaking death over your confidence behind your back. There were paths that looked very attractive on the outside, but carried total spiritual emptiness waiting for you at the end of them. Because I love you so deeply, I blocked certain things even while you were crying over losing them. You thought the closed doors meant rejection, but often they were a rescue. You thought the delays meant abandonment, but often they were protection. You thought the silence meant I stopped listening, but all along I was actively fighting battles for you in places your eyes could not yet fully see. The enemy tried repeatedly to make you quit your journey. He tried convincing you that your prayers were completely pointless, that change would never happen, and he tried burying your spirit beneath disappointment so deeply that you would stop expecting anything good from me ever again. Some nights you came dangerously close to completely surrendering to hopelessness, and some moments became so emotionally heavy that even continuing forward for one more day felt exhausting. But every single time darkness attempted to fully crush your spirit, my hand remained firmly over your life, protecting what the enemy could never destroy. You survived so much more than the people around you even realize. You survived emotional battles that nearly consumed your peace entirely. You survived seasons where loneliness wrapped around your spirit heavily, and you survived moments where your faith became incredibly weak and fragile. Despite everything you went through, you are still here tonight listening to my voice. That alone should remind you that darkness completely failed to destroy your destiny. The enemy attacked your confidence because he feared your future. He attacked your mind because he feared your awakening. And he attacked your peace because he feared what would happen if your spirit finally became completely free. Tonight, I am fully exposing what stood against you because hidden warfare completely loses its power once light reveals it clearly. The confusion was not random, the fear was not random, and the heaviness was not random at all. There were real spiritual battles directly connected to your calling, and now heaven has stepped directly into the situation surrounding your life. Something has changed in the unseen realm concerning you. What resisted you is weakening, what blocked you is being moved out of the way, and what spoke against your progress is being silenced forever. That is exactly why your spirit suddenly feels this unusual stirring tonight. My beloved child, I need you to completely stop blaming yourself for every delay now. Yes, there were moments when your own fear slowed you down, and yes, there were moments when compromise distracted your focus. But many of the battles surrounding your life were much larger than what your natural understanding could fully explain. You were fighting against resistance that you could not physically see, yet despite that resistance, my hand never once left you. There were times when I protected you from complete destruction without you even realizing it was happening. Some decisions you almost made would have damaged your future deeply, and some people you trusted would have broken your spirit much more severely if I had not intervened quietly behind the scenes. Some attacks sent against your mind would have completely crushed your hope if my mercy had not covered you during those nights of deep weakness. You thought you were surviving all alone, but heaven remained fully active around your life every single day. I know the waiting exhausted you. I know repeated disappointment made hope very difficult sometimes. And I know there were moments when you became tired of praying because nothing seemed to change quickly enough. But my beloved child, while you were waiting emotionally, I was working spiritually. While you were crying over delays, I was actively preventing your destruction. While you were questioning whether a breakthrough would ever arrive, I was already preparing a moment where everything would begin shifting suddenly. Now, that exact moment is beginning. That is why I brought you here tonight before the next door opens up fully. You needed to understand first that your struggles were not proof of abandonment. Your battles were proof that your life carried a major purpose worth fighting over. Your delays were not evidence that heaven forgot all about you, and your resistance was evidence that darkness recognized your incredible potential long before you did. But now the season is officially shifting. The chains surrounding your mind are weakening. The confusion clouding your spirit is breaking apart, and the resistance delaying your movement is losing all its authority because I, your God, have stepped into the battle personally. What I touch with my hand can never remain the same again. There were battles in your life that your human strength alone could never win. You tried so hard to fix things by yourself. You tried forcing doors open. You tried carrying massive burdens all alone. And you tried fighting emotional battles inside your own mind until exhaustion became a normal part of your daily existence. But there are some chains that are simply too heavy for human hands to break. There are some spiritual walls too strong for human effort to move. And there are some battles that only my power can handle. Tonight, I need you to understand this deeply. While you were crying, waiting, doubting, and struggling just to hold yourself together, I was already moving things behind the scenes that your eyes could not yet see. You thought silence meant nothing was happening, but heaven was completely active around your life the entire time. I was watching every single obstacle standing in your way. I was watching the spiritual resistance trying to delay your breakthrough, and I was watching the hidden attacks designed to keep your spirit trapped in confusion, fear, discouragement, and emotional exhaustion. Then there came a specific moment when I stepped directly into the battle surrounding your future and declared that enough was enough. You could not see it happening, but chains began breaking apart. You could not hear it, but powerful commands were released in the unseen realm concerning your life. You could not fully understand it, but movements began happening around your destiny that darkness could no longer stop. This is exactly why your spirit suddenly feels different lately, and why the atmosphere around your life feels heavier, but also strangely expectant at the same time. This is why certain old struggles are finally beginning to lose their grip over your thoughts. Something shifted because I moved what you could not move yourself. For years, you carried so much frustration over things remaining completely stuck. You asked why progress always felt delayed, why peace always felt so temporary, and why doors kept opening just a little bit only to close again before a full breakthrough arrived. But I need you to understand something very important tonight. Some of those delays existed because heavy spiritual resistance surrounded your movement. There were real voices speaking against your confidence. There were hidden battles connected to your calling, and there were unseen forces trying to wear your spirit down until you stopped expecting change completely. The enemy fully hoped that exhaustion would make you surrender. He hoped disappointment would weaken your faith, and he hoped repeated delays would convince you that your prayers no longer mattered to me. However, he completely underestimated my mercy over your life. He underestimated my plans for your future. And most importantly, he underestimated the exact moment when I would personally intervene on your behalf. My beloved child, I silenced things you did not even know were speaking against you. I blocked attacks before they could fully reach your life, and I protected your mind during moments when darkness tried to completely consume your peace. There were nights when your spirit felt strangely restless because spiritual warfare surrounded you heavily. Yet even then, my hand remained over your life, keeping destruction from going any farther than I allowed. You think you survived because you became strong enough, but the truth is much deeper than that. You survived because I refused to let darkness fully destroy what belongs to me. Even when your faith became weak, my protection remained completely strong. Even when your prayers became exhausted whispers, heaven still listened very carefully. Even when you nearly gave up emotionally, I continued fighting for your future in ways your natural understanding could not fully grasp. Now, something is changing. What once resisted you is beginning to lose its authority. What once blocked your movement is beginning to shift completely out of the way, and what once kept you emotionally trapped is beginning to weaken. This is not your imagination, my child, and this is not just a temporary emotion. This is the direct result of heaven moving in your situation. I know there were times when you begged me to remove certain pain immediately because you wanted instant answers, instant healing, and instant movement. But many of the situations surrounding your life required perfect spiritual timing. If I had opened certain doors too early, you would have entered battles completely unprepared emotionally and spiritually. If I had removed every single obstacle immediately, you would never have learned how deeply you needed my strength instead of your own. The waiting season hurt you, yes, but it also refined you. It exposed where your trust truly rested and revealed how much fear still controlled parts of your heart. Through every single painful lesson, I was slowly preparing you for the moment that is now approaching your life. You must understand something very carefully tonight. What I am opening for you now did not happen casually at all. There was massive warfare surrounding this breakthrough. There were forces resisting your healing, resisting your peace, resisting your growth, and resisting your season. But my authority is far greater than every single force standing against your life. And when I decide it is time for movement, darkness cannot permanently block what my hand has already ordained. That is exactly why certain things around your life suddenly feel a bit unstable right now. Some relationships feel different. Some environments no longer feel comfortable to you, and some habits no longer satisfy your spirit the way they once did. Do you know why that is? It is because once heaven shifts something, your soul can no longer remain peacefully attached to what was keeping you spiritually trapped before. I am pulling you forward, my beloved child, but forward movement always requires a separation from old chains. That is exactly why some people may walk away from your life in this season, why certain distractions are beginning to lose their hold over your attention, and why your spirit feels so restless whenever you try returning fully to old patterns. I am actively removing what cannot follow you into the next season I have prepared for you, and although a part of you still fears change, another part of your spirit already knows that this movement is absolutely necessary. I fought battles for you that you never fully saw. There were conversations held in darkness concerning your life that I personally silenced. There were attacks formed against your future that I blocked before they reached you completely. And there were moments when your emotional exhaustion should have completely broken your spirit. Yet somehow you kept surviving because my hand remained covering you even while you struggled to recognize it. The enemy wanted you isolated because isolation weakens people spiritually. He wanted your thoughts consumed with fear because fear completely paralyzes movement. And he wanted you emotionally drained because exhausted people rarely walk boldly through open doors. But tonight, I am completely exposing every single lie that tried convincing you that you were abandoned. You were never abandoned. You were fought over, you were protected, and you were covered by mercy even during your weakest moments. Now, heaven is beginning to reveal openly what was already shifting secretly behind the scenes. This next season will require true courage from you, not because I will abandon you to fight all alone, but because movement always frightens people who became comfortable just surviving in limitation. A part of you became so used to disappointment that breakthrough itself now feels unfamiliar. And a part of you became so used to closed doors that walking through an open one suddenly feels overwhelming. But hear me carefully tonight, because I did not move heaven around your life just for you to remain trapped in fear when the answer finally arrives. I need you to trust me now more than ever before. Trust that what I removed absolutely needed to move. Trust that what I blocked needed to close. Trust that what I am opening now carries my hand directly on it. And trust that what shifted spiritually was not a temporary emotion, but actual divine intervention. You asked me to fight for you, and I did. You asked me to make a way, and I am doing it. You asked me to move the mountains standing before your life, and now those mountains are beginning to shift. But breakthrough still requires a response, freedom still requires movement, and open doors still require obedience. Do not freeze up now that the battle is finally shifting in your favor. Do not allow fear to keep you standing outside of what heaven has already prepared for you. And do not overthink yourself right back into the prison I am trying to lead you out of. The enemy fears your movement now because he knows something incredibly powerful happens once wounded souls finally realize that my hand is still over their lives. Tonight, my beloved child, I need you to realize it fully. This is not luck, this is not a coincidence, and this is not human effort suddenly succeeding after years of struggle. This is my hand moving what you could never move alone, me silencing what resisted your future, me stepping into battles you cried over privately, and me answering prayers you thought heaven forgot about. Because I am moving it, the atmosphere around your destiny is beginning to change forever. Listen to me carefully now, because what I am about to tell you carries deep urgency for your spirit. The door standing before you in this season is not like the other opportunities that came and went throughout your life. This door is different because I opened it personally with my own hand after battles you could not see and prayers you thought went unanswered. This is not an ordinary moment, and this is not random timing. Heaven arranged this opening specifically for you after seasons of warfare, delay, heartbreak, confusion, and emotional exhaustion. Because this door carries my hand upon it, the enemy has become absolutely terrified that you might finally walk through it. For years, you stood outside opportunities doubting yourself. Fear convinced you that you were not ready. Pain convinced you that disappointment would just happen all over again. And delay convinced you that nothing would ever truly change. Slowly, without even realizing it, hesitation became comfortable for you. You learned how to stand perfectly still while secretly longing for movement. And you learned how to survive in limitation while pretending you no longer desired anything more. But my beloved child, I did not create you to remain trapped in the same cycles forever. I created you for movement, I created you for growth, and I created you to walk into the things heaven prepared for your life long before fear ever entered your thoughts. This is why the atmosphere around you feels so different right now. Your spirit senses that something serious is happening. A part of you feels hope rising again, while another part of you feels afraid because open doors require real decisions. Closed doors allow people to remain comfortable in their excuses, but open doors demand active movement. Movement frightens wounded hearts because movement requires trust all over again. I know exactly why you hesitate. I know disappointment left deep scars on your confidence. And I know previous opportunities collapsed unexpectedly and made you question your own discernment. Some doors opened in the past only to bring you pain instead of peace. Some people promised loyalty only to betray you later on. And some dreams looked very promising before falling apart completely in your hands. Because of all those experiences, fear slowly taught your spirit to expect heartbreak instead of a breakthrough. Hear me clearly tonight, because this door is not being opened by human promises. This door is being opened by me. When human beings open doors, they can close unexpectedly. And when emotions open doors, confusion eventually follows. But when I open a door, No force from darkness can permanently stop what I have already decided to release over your life. Still, I must warn you lovingly now, my beloved child, that although this door carries my hand on it, you must understand that heaven does not force people to walk through what grace opens before them. I will call you, I will guide you, I will strengthen you, and I will place peace inside your spirit and confirmation around your path. But I will not drag you through the door against your will. Obedience still requires your personal response. Faith still requires movement, and that is why I keep speaking so urgently to your heart tonight. Do not stall now that the answer has finally arrived right before you. The enemy wants hesitation to return at this exact moment because he understands something you have not fully realized yet. He knows this door has the potential to change absolutely everything about your future. He knows what waits on the other side of your obedience. He knows your healing is connected to this movement, and he knows your spiritual awakening is connected to this movement. He knows your peace, your restoration, your next season, and even the freedom of the people connected to your future are all attached to whether you finally trust me enough to walk forward now. That is exactly why fear suddenly feels much louder whenever a breakthrough gets closer to you. The enemy whispers questions into your mind, hoping confusion will stop your movement completely. He asks you, what if this fails too? What if you are disappointed again? What if you are not strong enough? Or what if you lose everything? But my beloved child, fear always speaks the absolute loudest right before chains begin breaking apart. Fear rises whenever destiny approaches because darkness knows its grip weakens once obedience begins. Do not overthink the door I have already confirmed for you. Do not analyze yourself back into captivity, and do not allow old disappointments to convince you that this moment will in the exact same way previous seasons ended. This is completely different because I am the one opening it. You prayed for movement during nights when tears completely soaked your pillow. You begged me for change during moments when hopelessness surrounded your thoughts. And you cried out for freedom while carrying burdens too heavy for your heart to handle alone. Now that heaven has finally moved, now that the atmosphere around your life is shifting, now that chains are loosening and doors are opening, the absolute worst thing you could do is remain standing perfectly still just because fear feels safer than faith. My beloved child, you have spent enough years trapped in hesitation. You have already lost enough time questioning yourself, and you have already watched enough great opportunities pass you by because doubt convinced you to wait just a little longer. There comes a specific moment when delay itself becomes a form of disobedience. There comes a moment when standing still becomes much more dangerous than moving forward uncertainly with me, and this is that exact moment for your life. If your faith is open to his gifts, you can receive today's blessing with confidence, and you can share this message with others who need it.